honestly, it's like you give birth to a newborn and you want to name the baby. Everybody will tell you what or the kind of name they think is good and with good meanings that you can give your name, your child. And with us today, AfLIA has given birth to a new baby. It's like our marriage with Wikimedia will not end now, because this marriage, somebody will say, is sweet me. So we'll continue to get married. For us here in AfLIA, it is a joy for us to be launching this new project that is going to change the narratives of African libraries and even our content online via our contributions to this great online encyclopedia. It has not been on any silver platter, but we are happy to be here today. So on the screen is the agenda for today. But before that, let me welcome all the people I know here. I can see the National Librarian from Nigeria here. Prof, you are welcome. We have here with us our colleagues and friends from the Wikimedia Foundation. We have Alice Chibombo. Alice is not new. Alice, you are welcome. We have the big man himself. Ben is here. Ben, you are welcome and thank you for joining us. We also have Christos here. Christos, thank you for joining us today and you are all welcome. We have seen a lot of you being part of the AfLIA programs or the trainings that we've run together with Wikimedia, and we are happy that you are all here today. So on the agenda, we will have unveiling of the project 1, which will be done by our own Dr. Nkem, and then the project 2 will be done by the Wikimedia people, that is either Alice or Ben, and then we have a message from Wikimedia Dutchland, who are part of this project, and then we will have the official launch, and we will call in our research coordinator, somebody you all know, Stanley, aka Big Stan, to come and tell us about the survey tools. Then we'll have question and answer, question time. You can give us your suggestion, what you think about the project after it has been presented. And then you give us your comments, your perceived outcomes, and all that you think the project should address. You can tell us, because we are ready and we will be open for new ideas, and then we'll give the announcement and we will leave this place. We don't want to take much of your time because today is a Friday and most of us will be going to the mosque. So once again, you are welcome. Without wasting much time, if you need to say anything or talk, kindly put it in the chat box. We'll pick it from there, or you can raise your hand if it is that feature is available to you. You can raise your hand and we'll call you in later to address or tell us what you want to say. For now, let's welcome Dr. Nkem to take up. Doc, you are welcome. Thank you.
Hello. Doreen, you're excited. I'm super excited, because I believe in the power of questions. Asking questions to see where can you find the answers. How do we go from here to here, from point A to B? Okay, what if we don't get to D and we want to get to letter M? How do we do that? So I believe in questions. So I'm starting my presentation with, all right, please, my internet is unstable, so please bear with me when you don't hear me clearly, but I'll make every effort for you to hear me. So I'm started with a question. A question that we asked, AfLIA asked, when AfLIA was at a conference in Greece, at AfLIA conference. He started with that question and we got answers. It wasn't easy, from one person to the other, but we got answers. And then we started the African Librarians Week. That was in 2020 when we got the first answer. And we do it in May every month to align with the African month. Then we've also done the Wikipedia in African Libraries course. And of course, the Wikidata course. And like again, I'll say, it all started with questions. And we've had great outcomes. Honestly, AfLIA has had great outcomes, that first year of the African Librarians Week, 844 librarians were on the dashboard. Then for 2021, the Wikipedia in African Libraries course, we had 311 librarians on the dashboard for cohort 1 and cohort 2, 130, and all together we were able to create more than 700 articles. Then in 2022 to 2023, we ran the Wikidata course too, and we had 206 editors who joined as librarians, and 797 items were created. And all over Africa, many librarians have been doing wonderful things in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, in Botswana, in South Africa, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Nigeria. And some of their pictures are here. Okay, we still had more questions because, when you have a vision that is not very clear, but it is in the dream, you have an idea of where you want to go and you're not really sure, how do we get there? So we started to ask questions. These librarians that AfLIA has trained, what do they do with all these their skills? After the trainings, after the African Librarians Week, and then these other librarians that are also doing awesome things like running projects, joining campaigns, presenting papers, writing them, and so on. How do all these things affect their libraries? I mean, has there been any change? Because AfLIA believes not just in activities or in, okay, let's do this or that, but what's the impact right down to the baseline, right down to the last person in the user community of African libraries? And we've been curious. I mean, you people, okay, we professionals, we learn this, and what do we do with all that? And then we also were curious, or we are still curious, how can we make Wikimedia projects to be part of what we do in African libraries? So those were the main questions, and these are the main ones. We were also asking, how can we highlight the natural alignment between library and Wikimedia projects? Here is a bookie in this picture, Bukola James. She's a librarian. She's been doing awesome things, and I just had to share this picture of her in a library in Nigeria, and because we are asking questions. We do not want it to be just an individual, or just maybe a group of 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 people excelling. How do all African librarians and allied professions excel with Wikimedia projects in their libraries? That was the first question. The second one is, how can African librarians and allied professionals better serve the Wikimedia movement in Africa? Through the provision of resources and impartation of information literacy and retrieval skills. Now, this picture, let me do it this way. Yeah, you see this in many of African content on Wikipedia. They'll tell you, you need additional citations. Please go and research more. Please find out more. And librarians or libraries have all these resources. So how do we marry them? That's Wikimedians in Africa and all that stuff we have on our shelves, in our databases, in our repositories as libraries, museums, and archives. Okay, so then we are also asking this question: what are we doing with our space? as libraries. Libraries are meant to connect people, cultivate and transform their user communities. Are we using this to serve the African Wikimedia movement in Africa? Wikimedia movement in Africa. How are libraries doing this? That was the question. Now, this picture here, this one is this lady here is Afostat. Afostat is a Nigerian librarian. We took this picture when she was undergoing a course in the AfLIA Leadership Academy, and she brought in people that do recycling to teach people in the library how is it done. And we were saying, Afostat can do this with recyclers that do not need to read books or do not need to consult our books on the shelves and so on. How about Wikimedia communities that need these resources that we have? I mean, it's like a common denominator in all libraries, okay, and even archives and so on. All these resources. So that is the question here. Remember, we are still dealing with questions. And then we now say, as we are thinking about this, are there impediments, whether they are infrastructural or from institutions, that could make this kind of partnership not to work? How can they be removed, circumvented, or anyhow, but strategic pathways for achieving this? And when I was doing this, I saw this slide. I said, oh, this is a man. He's trying to jump over this obstacle. Oh, his legs are long. Then I saw this one. Oh, I said, this is my lady. She put on a thinking cap, to know, okay, this needs to be done, but that's a strategic way of doing this. So whether you're male or female or other, we all need ourselves to make sure that we come up with ways, strategic ways to ensure that impediments, obstacles are circumvented or somehow climbed over, to ensure that this partnership that we are looking forward to, not just single partnerships, but collaborations across Africa between libraries and standalone libraries with Wikimedia communities or individual Wikimedians. So everybody needs to get involved. Yeah. And then again, while we were thinking about this project, the Africa Baraza conversations were on, and I joined in quite a lot. And you see, there's this African spirit, this spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. You do not achieve alone. You can't do your things in silo and expect to have great impact. You can't do your things in silo and expect to walk further, to your destination. And we have this African proverb: if you want to move fast, sure, you can go alone. You can, because you just be running far. But if you want to get farther away, if you want to get to your destination, please work with others. So that is what this is about, because we believe that the Africa agenda also speaks to what we want to do, aligning to one main purpose, to work together as the Wikimedia movement in Africa, and then the library sector, museums, archives, so that what we have, we share, and what they have, they share, so that we can all be great together. And in doing this, this is the first part, this is the first component of the project. We said, okay, I must express my appreciation to Veronica Taimane. I think I got, yeah, Veronica, because she was the one that I discussed this particular issue at length with, because I also asked her, librarians are doing these awesome things, but at the end of the day, it's as if our numbers, that's the number of editors, are not growing. The ones that are doing great things, they are really trying, honestly, but how do we grow numbers as editors here and yet make more impact, make more contributions? And she was asking, how do you align with what user communities are doing? How do you align with the user communities? And I told her personally that yes, I'm in the Nigerian user community, and many librarians are there. But there are still a lot that are not there. There are still a lot that feel, oh, we can do our own alone. Let them be doing their own. And she said, let's think. What do we think? What do we say? And we put on our thinking hats as women. And we say, what if we have visual conversations between African Wikimedians and the African library sector, the museums, the archives, all the professionals there? And we're like, oh, how do we do it? And we said, okay, can we do it in regions? There are 5 regions in Africa: Central, East, North, Southern, and West Africa. And we said, okay, but you see, there are quite a number of people that speak French in West Africa and also in some other parts of Africa. And we said, okay, so let's make it 6 conversations actually, 5 for the regions and then 1 for the French-speaking countries. And on 7th November, a week, that 6 days away from today, we are going to start with West Africa. Yeah. And our moderator will be Olushola. Olushola, I call him Bossman. Why do I call him Bossman? Because he's the president of the Nigeria user group. So, and that's where I am just a member. So I call him Bossman. So he's going to lead the visual conversation. Already, AfLIA has prepared a toolkit for the moderators and also a guide for panelists to show them this is what we want to do. These are the underlying principles. This is what we are looking at. And then these are the great questions that you can choose from. Just choose any of them so that, you know, we don't tie you down to what we think, but also use what we think and where we are, add to your own so that we'll have more impact. So Lushola will lead the conversation for West Africa English edition on Thursday, 7th November 2024. And these are some of the panelists. We are still to get, oh, this is Sadiq. Oh, Sadiq, my son, how did I mix your spelling? This is not getting. So these are some of our panelists. Nina and Ramatule are yet to send their pictures. Now, this first one is Jeremiah. Oh, Jeremiah is a great librarian from Nigeria. Allow me to blow my horns a little. You know, these Nigerian librarians are awesome in this thing that we are doing. So Jeremiah is a great guy there. Then Sadiq is from Ghana. He's a Wikimedian. He's not a librarian, because what we AfLIA tries to do is to ensure that on the panel there will be librarians and Wikimedians, but those that will lead the conversations will be who? Wikimedians as moderators. So that's for West Africa. Then this one is for Central Africa. I didn't know it's in French. I don't speak French, but this is Georges. Georges has worked with AfLIA on several, you know, things. He helps us to develop content for the Wikidata course. He will lead the one for Central Africa, the conversations. I'm not sure he's here today because I know that they're having their Francophone conference. So Georges will lead that one on 14th, Thursday, 14th November 2024. And these are his panelists. Oh, Minette is a great girl. Minette is from Cameroon, and I've not met her, but you know, you read from somebody and you have an idea of who she is. So we are looking forward to interacting with this as West African panelists. Then for East Africa, oh, using somebody that's putting on so many hats. Alice, AfLIA's Alice, AfLIA's WIR, AfLIA's person. She's a librarian, she's a Wikimedian. So Alice will lead the conversation in East Africa with Carol. Oh, sorry. Okay, see now. With Carol, Michael, and one person, we'll still add one person because the person we added, something came up and he said please that he can't be there on because East Africa is on 26th November 2024. So that's for East Africa. Then for South Africa, no, we had to go look for the oracle himself. We had to go look for the oracle himself, yes. And Bobby agreed to do this, and he has sat in with us on all the meetings that we invited him to. You see, like I said, this spirit of Africa, this spirit of Ubuntu, it doesn't matter how big you think you are. Oh, AfLIA is a large organization. Actually, we have membership in 34 African countries. Yes, but we know that outside of our field, there are great people that are doing awesome things that we need to align with. And Bobby has been quite great, you know. He helped us to even, he made suggestions on the toolkits for the moderators and so on. So Bobby will take us on Thursday, 28th November for the visual conversations, the Southern Africa edition, not just South Africa. Southern Africa includes South Africa, Eswatini, Lesotho, Botswana, Namibia. Who am I missing? Zambia. Oh, is Zambia in East Africa? I think is in Southern Africa. But yes, so he will lead us in those conversations. And South African panelists, sorry your pictures are not here, but we will create a poster for all the panelists too, but we couldn't do it now because we are still waiting for some of us to send our pictures. So Ingrid is a librarian. Ingrid was amongst our first ambassadors in the first African Librarians Week. She doesn't talk much, you know, she's on the calm side, but she works hard, and so she's there. Then Lynn Jibril is the university librarian of I think it's Botswana University, one of science and tech, and she's a great person. Lynn is from Botswana, but Lynn is also my sister because her husband is a Nigerian. Yes, she's my sister. Then Matete, also from South Africa. Okay. Then we also have for North Africa, AFEC. AFEC is a librarian. I never knew before until recently. And she's been doing these awesome things with She Said campaign and in Tunisia. And I think she's the Secretary General of the Francophone Wikimedia. Wiki, yeah. Not my tongue. So she's quite a great person, and these are panelists from Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. And there's this young man, the face that I saw him, I said, "Oh, you're a handsome guy," and he was just like black people that they don't blush, but I told him, yeah. So Kofi will handle the one for French-speaking West Africa. This should be in French, so we'll correct it and send to you, please. Kofi, we'll correct it and send to you. But we are really happy that you're a part of this team. Honestly, we are. So that's the first part. That's the first component of this great new project that AfLIA is running with the Knowledge Equity Fund of the Wikimedia Foundation. But is that all? No. You know, we are still asking questions, and we went on to ask about the structure of knowledge. That thing that holds the knowledge, that structure that we can't see. And these questions were formed through the prisms of critical librarianship. And the questions are we all being served? You know, is there equity and fairness in what is being served, and then how it is being served? So wait, there's really more. And the component 2 of the project will unveil these questions more clearly, and then the answers to them. So thank you very much. Over to Ben, please. Thank you. I'm stopping to my sharing. Just remember, if you have questions, just you note them down that you're going to ask. Over to you, Ben.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's good morning for me. I think it's probably good afternoon, good evening for almost everyone else. It's great to be here. My name is Ben Vershbow. I'm a principal strategist, community growth at the Wikimedia Foundation. I'm joining from rather early in the morning in Philadelphia on the East Coast of the United States. The sun will be coming up during this meeting, and depending on how long this goes, I may have to disappear a little later to actually take my kids to school. That just might give you the picture where we are in our day here in the U.S. It is such an honor and a privilege to be here to kind of to add a bit to the celebration of the launch of this incredible project. I'll just give a little bit of context about what you're hearing today to add to what Dr. and Kem just laid out. So actually, my journey to work at the Wikimedia Foundation, where I've been for a little over 7 years, started in libraries. Before coming to the Wikimedia Foundation, I worked for over 8 years at the New York Public Library, which is probably best known internationally as the site of a haunting in the Ghostbusters movie. It's a famous building in central Manhattan with these gorgeous lion statues outside. That was in that story rather compromised by some ghosts. I had the great privilege of working there and leading a digital program there called NYPL Labs. And in doing so, I started to really see how, in the age of the internet, libraries are increasingly needing to be interconnected and sort of looking at their project as at their work as one larger connective project, going beyond the kind of the physical bounds of their library and their immediate audiences. We were digitizing collections. We were forming partnerships and coalitions with other organizations, really trying to push the library's knowledge into the new internet public. And that's what led me to work with Wikimedians in New York City and to get more involved in the Wikimedia community and eventually to join professionally to contribute at the Wikimedia Foundation. So libraries have really been the kind of the core motivator and the kind of the main path that have brought me into the work of Wikimedia. But it wasn't until 2020 that I encountered AfLIA, and this has really been one of the, I say without exaggeration, one of the highlights of my whole experience working in the Wikimedia movement. This all began, as Dr. and Kem was laying out, in the history of these successive programs at the height of lockdown during the pandemic. We can all I think we've tried to banish those memories or sort of bury them deep in the past, but it was a mere 4.5 years ago that the world was sort of frozen and all kind of huddling in lockdown and trying to figure out what to do with ourselves, and especially in professions that are frontline, serving people in communities face to face every day. We're kind of shut away in our homes, trying to figure out what we could do with ourselves and how we could use this time productively and still serve our mission. And it was under those circumstances that Dr. and Kem met my wonderful colleague, Felix Narti, who's based in Accra, Ghana, who works on partnerships and community building across the African continent. And they had met through a series of connections. And it was that meeting that sparked this initial experiment in May 2020 of inviting African librarians from across the continent to try something new, to contribute to Wikipedia, and to see this as not just a kind of a side project, but something that might be very relevant to their core purpose and core work as librarians. Dr. Kem laid out that history of what happened next. The African Libraries Week campaign was born, which has been going on every year since. They then launched a course to train African librarians in a more comprehensive fashion to learn how to contribute to Wikipedia. That led a couple of years later to a similar course focused on Wikidata, starting to get into the kind of the interconnected underpinnings of knowledge. And here we are today at the launch of, I think, what is going to be the most impactful project yet. In retrospect, we may come to see the projects that preceded as sort of warm-ups, as really valuable explorations and experimentation that have led to something that we're about to embark on now that I believe could have a really long-lasting and system-level impact on how African libraries and librarians work with the Wikimedia ecosystem in sort of what we look at together as a common project of bringing Africa's knowledge to internet users in Africa and the world over, where they already are, meeting them where they are in the course of their internet searching and in their internet searching and browsing. And so as Dr. Nkem was saying, throughout all these kind of programs, those have been the visible kind of outputs, the kind of the projects that we've seen that get highlighted, that get celebrated. But all along the way, there have been just ongoing conversations in many different directions at the Wikimedia community conferences, with my colleagues at the Wikimedia Foundation and Wikimedia Deutschland. And as Dr. Nkem said, the thinking hat is always on. Uh, Dr. Nkem is always vaulting herself over the next obstacle. And the obstacle that we kept talking about over the past couple of years was really looking at some of the underlying structures of Wikipedia articles. It stands to reason. It seems natural that a librarian would be drawn to examine the root system underlying a knowledge resource. Most obviously, the sources. You know, what are the reference works that are what are the works that are being cited to back up the claims and support the claims in these articles, and what are the obstacles that African editors are finding when they are being challenged on the quality or the relevance of their sources. But also looking at a kind of an obscure template at the bottom of most Wikipedia articles called the authority control template. And this is something that became a source of complete fascination to Nkem and myself. And we were talking about this for months and months about, you know, why is it that when you go to, say, a Wikipedia article for a undeniably, like, globally notable Nigerian author, like Wole Soyinka, say, a Nobel Prize winner, you go there and you see the authority control template, and this basically links to the controlled usage of Wole Soyinka in national libraries around the world. This is their kind of official linked term to aggregate all information connected to this author. Why is it that when you open up the authority control template for Wole Soyinka in English Wikipedia, that you see the National Library of Germany, the Library of Congress in the United States, Japan, Italy, Australia, Czech Republic, Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, Norway, Latvia, Croatia, Greece, Korea, Sweden, Poland, Israel, Catalonia, Belgium? Not a single African library, not a single African national library represented there. What is going on? It seems that the whole nature of even authority is kind of a hangover, you could say, from a colonial era, where these knowledge institutions kind of made the map of recognized knowledge, and that's the map we've been using ever since. And so, being eternally with the thinking cap on and continually pressing forward and going deeper in her questions, and Cam said, "What can we do about this? This seems like the thing that needs to be changed most fundamentally. That we're going to keep fighting battles on the level of articles and of paragraphs and specific claims and sources, but it's this underlying webbing of knowledge that is so full of gaps, so full of holes. How do we combat that? How do we work on that?" And that's what has led AfLIA into the down the Wikidata rabbit hole, and to kind of work on the actual atomic connections of knowledge. And as Nkem said, following the next month's conversations around different African regions, there's going to be an actual robust pilot project that is going to be setting up the first Nigerian authority file, National Library authority file, using Wikimedia software, Wikibase, provided by our good friends at Wikimedia Deutschland. And this is quite a radical act, saying that African libraries can and should have these same authority files as the other countries I mentioned, and that there is software out there that the Wikimedia movement has produced that can actually power this infrastructure. So this project is really looking at the question of Wikimedia and libraries on the system level. Most immediately, the human system, the profession of librarianship. Can contributing to Wikimedia projects be more than an extra credit activity? Can it in fact be part of the day-to-day work of librarians, part of the core professional profile of librarians? And looking at the systems of knowledge and metadata and the kind of classification systems, as I was just describing with authority control. And of course, looking at the software systems, the technical systems. What are the enabling technologies we need to not only do this in theory, but in practice, and to actually have that impact and to have this knowledge reach a global audience? So this project, I think, building indelibly on the preceding ones, I think is going at a much deeper and more fundamental level. And I have a feeling that we'll be looking back on this years later saying this was the moment when the real conversation began, when we really started to ask that fundamental question of, like, how can we do this not just as an add-on, but as a core a core evolution of the work of librarians in the 21st century. So I cannot overstate how excited I am about this. To me, this is some of the most profound work happening in the entire Wikimedia ecosystem, in the entire library ecosystem. And I just want to congratulate you all for being the kind of early adopters and pioneers and brave experimenters who are embarking on this journey at this critical early stage. Um, and it's for this reason that this project was selected as a recipient of our from our equity fund, which is looking at these kind of root causes of, you know, what knowledge is missing and what are the barriers that precede the creation, say, of a Wikipedia article that are inhibiting that. Where are the sources that are not being created or recognized? Where are the voices that have not yet been enabled to share their knowledge? And so it is in that kind of system level work that the equity fund is focused, and that's why this project has been recognized. And I couldn't be more excited and more proud to be associated with this. I like to consider myself a proud uncle of the work, an adoring uncle. But it's really, as all uncles and aunts know, it's really the parents who do the lion's share of the work. And so I just want to honor the incredible, brave, and I think powerful work that AfLIA is leading, and congratulate you all as you embark on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. You are indeed a good uncle, and I take that. Thank you for making everything clearer to us. We are excited ourselves. And, you know, sometimes when we talk about things and we don't see what it is, when the eye sees something, it's able to be with you for a long time. That's why people like watching movies and other things. And because of that, we now invite Alice, our own Alice. Alice is for us. She is for AfLIA. We invite Alice to come and show us what authority control is. What is this authority control that you people are making noise about? Alice, you are welcome to share your screen and let us see what is happening.
I'm here. Please confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you. So I don't know if we should call you auntie or sister. Which one should we call you?
Baby.
Now, Ben is our uncle. Do you like the sister or
baby
auntie?
Alice.
Baby Alice. Chai. Baby, please
Junior Alice,
screen.
okay.
Baby, share your screen. Thank you.
Let me see if I can share my screen now. Good afternoon, everybody. It's afternoon from a very rainy Kampala. Today I will show you my face. Every day I keep saying that I'm not able to show my face, but a great injustice was done to me to ask me to speak after Dr. Kim and Ben. It's a hard paper. They are my seniors, they are my bosses, and yes, I should speak after them, but they've said everything I could have said. So a great injustice was done to me. I am rebranding, so I will be seeking justice in the next days to come. But for now, I would like to share my screen and just briefly show us what authority control is. And I'll also share my experiences with authority control. I used to see it on very many Wikimedia or Wikipedia articles, for lack of a better word. And I remember, allow me to speak like, you know, our colleagues who travel one time and it's a big deal. So I remember when we were in Ireland for the first Wikimedia and Libraries Convention in 2022, Dr. Nkem brought it up and she could not stop talking about it. And at that point, I did not appreciate the gravity of it as it relates to us as African librarians and, you know, just being the natural partners to push these connections forward. And she did not stop at that. She put in a proposal for Wiki Indaba 2022 that was in Rwanda, in Kigali. And there was a whole proposal for that. And I think today is definitely not 2 years to the day, but this month, somewhere this month, it's going to be 2 years to the day that she actually brought it to a wider platform and to the attention of very many of us that should have actually paid attention at an earlier stage, but we did not. So She kept wondering, why are they pointing to sources or more organized resources that are out of Africa? So when I was doing my own research, I had reason to shed premium tears, but I'll just share with you what I saw. So I'd just like to show you on Wikipedia articles, especially what authority control looks like, the databases from which it is derived, and to also show you the lack of databases from Africa that are contributing to it. So I do not know. I think my colleagues from Botswana and in generally the south of Africa have read the series about Precious Ramotso, the #1 ladies detective agency, and her husband who's a mechanic, and I think he has a motor garage at something, Cloqueng Road or something in Botswana. So she's a fictional character set in Botswana. And it was enough. This series of books were good enough, to get their own TV production and everything. And okay, this is not trivia. I think it is widely known. The writer is a gentleman from Zimbabwe, and he's called Alexander McCall Smith. It is not my place to grade him and put him in the pantheon of greats, but he is one of Africa's most prolific writers, according to me. And this is his article on Wikipedia. There he is. That's his likeness in 2018. So this is one of our writers. We claim him, and we come down to authority control. Basically, the databases where there are standardized references to him and the body of his work and his anthology. And here we are, novels, but these are the control databases where he is mentioned. If anybody can identify any database from Africa, please put your hand up. I would like to see the person that I am dealing with. Doreen, is there any hand up so far? Doreen?
Yes, I'm here. There's no hand up because
because there's none.
There's none.
There is none. So as you can see, this is a person who has produced literature in Africa that we are reading. In some countries, some of the books are even used as set pieces for high school literature education, but there is no database in Africa that mentions him. Or let me correct that. It could be mentioned, he could be mentioned, but it is not present, or it is not being reflected in Wikipedia. So if we want anything more about him, we'll have to source that information from Germany, from Finland, from Deutschland, from Japan. It's a global village, but you get it. I'd like to bring to your attention some other databases for some other authors in Africa. Mine is a very crowded screen. So let me see now that he is there. So in my country, please confirm that you can see the screen for Code PB Tech. I don't know if that's the way he pronounces, but the writer goes ahead to give us a very juicy description, and this is widely acclaimed, one of the best poets that has come from the continent for a very, very long time. And he was very active in the 60s and the 70s till he went into exile. Now he's deceased. So I said, okay, let me look for somebody from home and actually see. Nothing from Uganda, my people. Here. So if I want anything standardized about him, I have to go to the US. I have to go as far as Latvia. I have to go as far as Poland to get something that is standardized and points to his works that is out of my country. So maybe he exists in the catalog for the National Library of Uganda, but that is going to be you and me to bring that. So these are just some of the examples of how you can identify the authority control databases. Very many of us are familiar with these, but are we familiar with what we have produced in our countries? So I did a little bit more reading on this topic that Dr. Nkem would not stop talking about, and I discovered some facts. Some were encouraging, others were very, very discouraging. And these were the statistics
Let's hear
about
the
it.
encouraging ones first. We
The
want to be
encouraging
encouraged.
ones. Okay, the encouraging ones is the encouraging facts are that of late, and very many information workers are pointing to the fact that African languages are now are being widely documented on all these electronic platforms as well as in these databases. And then the other encouraging fact that I also saw was that because I had to write these things down, and just so that I could get in sync with that. The other encouraging fact that I actually saw was that there were very many opportunities for librarians and information workers to get involved in this kind of work. But the one that was most encouraging was that a number of African countries have actually come up with authority control agencies and are actively implementing these in their countries. And not only that, these things are online. Some might not yet be available to the public, but indeed they are available, and very many African countries, at least 20 African countries, have dedicated resources to this kind of activity. Now, the discouraging ones in which this project is going to come, this baby, as Doreen called it, the baby of this marriage, that the discouraging ones that this baby is going to address are things like only 12% of African languages are represented on digital platforms, and that was from the Internet Society in 2022. So 2 years have passed, things may have changed. And then one of the things this baby will also deal with is the fact that 70% of African languages lack standardized authority control systems. Now, I do not know how many local languages there are in Nigeria, but I am sure that a large percentage of these languages are going to be represented in this project. You know, we are going to have standardized orthography. The work will be very neat and everything. And then I also saw something that encouraged me, and I saw that very many of the countries that have this work ongoing are actually being represented here. So I saw that the National Library of South Africa has an authority control section. We have colleagues from Egypt. We have colleagues from Morocco, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, and Algeria. And a number of them are actually represented here. So I am very confident and very comfortable that I am not speaking to individuals who know nothing about what it is that they are doing. And this is why we're going to invite you at the end of this session to give us your expectations about what it is that you expect to see after my colleagues have spoken a little bit more about it. So in this audience, I have OBs, I have OGs, I have seniors, I've got veterans, I've got administrators, job givers, and bosses. My people, I wish to say farewell and hand the mic back to Doreen.
Thank you, baby Alice. You've done it all, and we are grateful for your research and the analysis. This issue of authority control is more serious than we think, and that is why, like Alice will say, our newborn baby is here to address that. And we intend to address this issue with all of you here, not just AfLIA alone. This is our project and it is for all Africans. So the next person we would like to invite is Christos. Christos is from Wikimedia Dutchland, and he'll come and tell us what they think about this partnership, the projects, anything he wants to say. So, Christos, you are welcome. I don't know if I should also address you as uncle, because our newborn baby needs a lot of uncles.
I loved
right.
that. I loved that idea. I loved the uncle perspective. And yes, I think we are uncles here at Wikimedia Deutschland too.
Thank you.
And very proud uncles, very happy uncles, very uncles who are very much looking forward to see what's coming out of this. And uncles, this sort of uncles that don't just stay and watch from afar, rather they do go into the playground and play together with the kids too. So we are really excited. We're really excited about this project. There are very few things to add or to say. Basically, after Dr. Nkem, Ben, and Alice have spoken, I was listening to Ben talking about this, and I was like, wait, I wanted to tell that. It's a super exciting project. It's something that we are very much invested into, and something that we very much want to see coming into existence, first of all, and having the impact that we do think it's going to be having. I'm Christos. I work at Wikimedia Deutschland as partner manager for Wikibase, and I am not a librarian. I'm a social anthropologist, and I am invested basically into values of knowledge equity and knowledge diversity. And this project is a project that has been really, from the beginning, we have been working very closely with this project, because it doesn't just align, let's say, with our goals and with our aims. It is very much in tune with the very principles that we have and that we carry with us, the reasons we wake up and go to work every morning. It is a project that we think is going to be very much successful. It is a project that we think is going to be very impactful, and we think it's going to both make a difference and set up an example. Right. Not sure what else to add to this. Like I said, I think Ben described really nicely how we too feel, and we are excited to keep working with all of you on this wonderful project. Just one last thing to congratulate you on the work that you have been doing so far. I think it's an amazing work. I think it's groundbreaking, and I think it's a lot of work being involved in what you have achieved so far. That's it from us.
Thank you. It's so amazing when you have a newborn baby and the baby has a lot of uncles and aunties who are ready to help the child, guide the child to grow to become a good person. In life, if you don't have uncles who will guide you and sometimes give you a knock on your head and direct you, you go wayward. But once there are uncles there, you know that if my uncle sees me in that corner, my uncle will call me to order. And so thank you very much, Christos. We are so happy to be here. I'll now invite Dr. Nkem to call on the moderators, and then other things will follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you. You've been an uncle, yes. But, uncles are really older people. So, young uncle, thank you. And Alice, you can't be baby. You don't pass baby, your sister. And thank you to Christos. Let me say this before I call moderators, just to say hello. Christos and team will hold a physical workshop on this. in the National Library of Nigeria within the first quarter of 2025. And from the training resources, AfLIA will create a short course that she can use to train other national libraries all around Africa. So it will go round, but we are starting with this, with first the conversations, then we'll build that model with National Library of Nigeria that we can now reproduce in other national libraries in Africa. Like Alice said, it is heartbreaking. It is heart-wrenching when you see that everything about Africa, for you to get the standard, maybe how the name is spelled, or get more resources, you have to leave every library, all the libraries in Africa, and go to Slovenia, Latvia, Sweden. It is good that they are there, but what of us? What of Africa? So I'm going to call moderators just to say hello. Let me start from the Oracle. I saw Bobby here. Hello, Bobby, are you still here? Please, can you say hello to us? Is Bobby gone? Oh, as if he's left.
He's
Boss,
here.
right? Where?
Bobby
I
is
can't see.
here. He is here. I just saw him. He's here. Stanley, please allow him to unmute himself.
Yeah.
Okay, Bobby, you can unmute yourself, please.
Just say hello to us, because you are the Oracle in Africa. Thank you.
Okay, whilst we wait for him, if he's not ready, he can
Yeah,
call
himself. Oracles, you have to make these sacrifices and do all these things, turn round and round, blow white chalk and all those things before they come out. So let him be. let him be doing all that. Is my boss? My boss man is here. Please, Olushola Olaniyo, please, can we hear from you? Are you near your mic? Just say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
We can hear you, sir.
Hello, boss mommy. How are you, ma? And everyone here.
Don't turn it round, sir. Don't turn it round.
I'm super excited to be part of this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So that's the moderator of the West Africa conversations. We are going to talk on 7th November. Please, if you've not registered, you're from West Africa, kindly do so. Okay, of course, Alice, our big sister, our own Alice. Alice, I'll talk slowly, but she knows where she's going. She's a moderator for East Africa. She has on so many caps. Hello, Alice. Please, can you say hello again?
Yes. I'm living in. I'm manifesting my better self. Therefore, I've become a woman of few words. But I would like to encourage the audience to please turn up for the East Africa session on the 26th of November and hear the wealth of experiences and knowledge that my colleagues have. Woman of few words has signed out.
Alice, please, before you sign out.
Bobby is ready to speak. So
please,
okay.
We have sacrificed the chicken. Everything is ready. Hello, Oracle, are you here, please? Kindly address us.
Oh, yes, I'm here, colleagues. Dr. Gem, thank you so much for the presentation earlier on. And I'm so very, very much glad to, be presenting on the 28th. Looking forward to everyone to joining us. And, Ingrid, Matete, and all other colleagues there from Botswana to join us. And looking forward to you, colleagues, to also join us to those conversations as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Oracle has spoken, and we are happy that the chicken and the sacrificed chicken, the chalk, and all those things, they all worked. And Kofi is here too. Hello, Kofi. Can we hear from you?
Hello, Kofi from. I'm part of this meeting from Quebec, where I participate to the convention francophone. but I live in Abidjan, and I'm happy, very happy, very proud to join this project. I think I hope it helps us to improve marriage the wording between Wikipedia and library. Um, so to finish, I want to say something in French because I'm moderator of the French conversation. Salut à tout le monde, particulièrement à tous les francophones qui ont rejoint ce meeting. Je voulais juste vous rappeler que notre conversation, c'est le 19 novembre. Et j'espère qu'on sera nombreux. Et on mobilisera les collègues et les amis pour vraiment être pleinement partie prenante de cet an. Thank you very much. Next step. See you.
Thank you, Messi. Did I get it? Messi, or is it Messi? Thank you very much.
Yeah, merci.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So, on behalf of the executive director of AfLIA, AFEC and judges are not here, please. They are in the Francophone summit. So they're not here. So that's why I'm not calling up two of them. So on behalf of the executive director of AfLIA, Dr. Helena Samoa Hassan, is on her behalf, but I proudly, excitedly, awesomely launch this project because we believe that it's going to change not just the relationship between African Wikimedia movement and African libraries, but it's also going to address an underlying structure of knowledge in Wikimedia projects. This project is hereby launched. Yay! No drum rolls for me, Stanley.
This is artificial drum rolls.
No drum rolls. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you very
drumming.
much. Thank you. Right, over to you, Doreen. I think I'm done. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And hooray, our newborn baby has been launched or named. And this baby, you all know the name. This baby is going to grow to be stronger and stronger and stronger each day. So, you know, there are some people who like doing research. And this man I'm going to introduce, you all know him. I don't need to talk about him. If I'm stuck anywhere on research, I just call him. Even if he's asleep, he will just tell me, Doreen, do this, do this, do this, and bam, I'm off. Stanley, you are welcome. Come and do what you know to do best, and let's move on. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Hello. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Please don't go yet. I remember when there was matriculation. Immediately after matriculation, a few hours after that, there was a class. And so actually, once there is a launch, the ceremony has been launched. I mean, the ceremony is over. The next is work. All of the things that have been mentioned by the stakeholders of this project. I know for some of you, part of it may sound a little bit too technical, part of it, but that is just for you to know that there's a place for everyone, right? There's a place that you find yourself to participate. There's a place that you find yourself to contribute. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. You would notice that by now, with the questions we are seeking to answer, there's a lot of data we are going to be collecting under this project. The project has two main components. I think it's already been mentioned. The bit about the experiment using the Nigerian National Library, and then the conversations. You've heard about the conversations. You've seen the people that will be leading as moderators, but the conversations are actually meant to collect data, right? We want to understand what the perspectives of Wikimedia Foundation user community members are, and what the African library community, their perspectives are, and how the two can be merged. So there's going to be a lot of data gathering in audio, with with online surveys and all of that. And so I'm going to use the next 5 minutes to talk about that, and then you see how you can contribute in that regard. So I'll share my screen quickly, and then we'll do the first bit. For all of the virtual sessions, okay, the conversations that we've seen the celebrity moderators already, please, there's a reason. I think there's a reason why we are doing it at the sub-regional level, and then to some extent the language level, because we want to make sure that there are as many sessions and as many opportunities for people to represent their voices, what they think, what they know, what their experiences are, and what they believe should be the way forward. Okay, so the virtual conversations are meant to try to pick data, try to pick perspectives, pick voices, pick thoughts. And so, as much as possible, we have segregated them into sub-regions and languages. You are, depending on your location, supposed to identify when your virtual conversation will happen, and then you register accordingly. Okay, I want to emphasize on this. So next week on the 7th, we are going to be having the West Africa English edition of the virtual conversations. Now, when you go to this link I'm going to share with you, this is the same link that we had the information about the launching, and so I'm sharing that in the chat. Just if you have not done that yet, there's opportunity for you to do that. If you are in West Africa and you are English speaking, when you come to the website, you identify your login or register button, you click on this, and then you provide your information so that you can get reminders when the time is near. If you are in Central Africa, and I'm sure there are a few of them represented here, identify that you're going to be having your session on the 14th. And so you can click on this and then you register so that you can get reminders and you will not miss. If you are from Northern Africa, Afegben Shahed is going to be your moderator. Please locate your session or your edition and then register so that you can get reminders accordingly. And then for East Africa, which is happening on the 26th of November, identify or locate your session and then register accordingly. And then for West Africa French edition, on the 27th of November, please look for your session and then register. You click on the link here and then you get your registration. And then last but not least, for Southern Africa, your session happening on the 28th, yours is to go down there and click and register, provide your details so that you can get your reminders, right? So please, I'm repeating, I'm just going to reshare the link. At least we have about 79, close to 80 participants in this launch. Use this opportunity. It's a very simple registration link, your name and then your location and a few other things, so that you don't forget, because we have a whole lot of other things that are going on, other competing interests. If at least once you get this registered, you have your calendar sorted out, you get reminders, right? I dare say that you are not solely restricted to appear in your session. If you think you have the time and you think you want to hear perspectives from the other regions, you are free to register more than once. That's your prerogative. But as much as possible, make sure you are representing during your session, right? Please, let's do that. We are going to continue sharing this information as long as the virtual conversations are going on. And like we said, it's going to be a panel of Wikimedia community members and then African Library community members. All the attendants, there will be sessions to engage, to share your thoughts, to provide feedback through the chat bots, and all of that will be recorded. We are going to put all this information together because we need to come up with a strategy that is workable, how the wiki projects can be integrated into routine library operations, right? So yeah, just make sure that your voice is represented. Now, apart from this qualitative aspect of the data gathering, there is also an opportunity for everyone, because we believe that, you know, online sessions is just about an hour or maximum an hour 30. The highest you can go is 2 hours, and you have over 70 people online. Not everybody can speak, but everybody's voice is equally important. And so there is another survey that will be running on the end or on the side, and this gives opportunity for every single person to share their voice or to share their thoughts and impressions. And so we have a survey that is running already. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to put that survey in the chat. Just be on the lookout very soon. The survey is meant to help for individuals to also directly provide feedback on what they think should be the way forward with regards to how to integrate Wikipedia, Wikisource, Wikibase, all of the other wiki projects into routine library operations. So I have shared the English form, and I'm going to share the French form. And just like we do for all the other disseminations that we do, after here, we are still going to be sharing that information with you on the WhatsApp pages that you are on Facebook, on via our mailing list, as much as possible. And as long as the virtual conversations are running, this individual service would also be running on the site. Okay, so please feel free to complete these forms. You have access to them from now till I think the end of November, or even December, yes, because the virtual sessions are running till the end of November, right? And so yes, we are so excited that we have this opportunity, but like I said, work has already begun, all right? And so please again, register for the virtual sessions, represent your voice, don't miss it. Feel free to share and invite as many of your colleagues as possible. And then again, for the individual surveys, please again, fill the form, have some time, use the opportunity to engage. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing that people are asking for permission to access. I'm going to work on that. I think I did, but yeah. So yeah, that's just about a bit of the forms that I want to share with you. The forms are open. You can start working on it, start providing feedback, register for the online sessions, and then let's meet online beginning next week. Thank you very much. If there are any other questions, I think Doreen will moderate that session, but I'm going to open up the surveys very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stanley. I told you this man eats and sleeps research. Thank you very much. So it's time for questions, comments, and suggestions. What are your views? What do you perceive as the outcome of this newborn baby? Tell us what you think, and we can or may incorporate some of the things into what we want to do. So if you have any suggestion, any question, any comment, kindly put it there for us. Thank you.
Can I also add this one, Alice? Doreen.
Yeah, Doc, you can go ahead, please.
Yes, you see, this is not just an AfLIA project. You know, there's if we want to run an AfLIA project, it's be okay, let's train people. But this one, we are aiming to change something that affects all African content, so to speak, on Wikipedia, Wikidata, and maybe other Wikimedia projects. And everybody is involved. And why do I say everyone? You know, Wikipedia as a resource, as an online encyclopedia, has billions. When I say billions, I mean billions of visitors every month, every single month, all over the world. People go to this resource to get information. Whenever you're searching for anything, if that thing is on Wikipedia, it will appear first in your Google search. Why? Because the algorithms are made to favor whatever that is there in Wikipedia. So why think about how it's going to affect the content there from Africa and about Africa. When people click on any of them and they want to read more, that they can find such things in African libraries. It's not as if these libraries are not there and they are not doing great work, but somehow visibility is not there because maybe we lost some steps along the way. But that is what this project is trying to address. Close up those gaps. And in closing those gaps, it's not librarians that are going to do it alone. African Wikimedians are also involved in this because we are all in this together. We are, librarians are a part of this because Wikimedia movement exists. If it doesn't exist, then we won't be asking all these questions. So everybody is just involved. But the important thing is the underlying point is that we are projecting Africa and we are all Africans. So we all have a stake in this. So please, do you have any questions? Please ask us. Suggestions that you feel that this is how we can make it better, please add it there on the chat. Are there people that we need to tell about this that we have not told? Please let us know so that we can speak to everybody and get everybody involved, because it's important that while we want to create more articles, we want to create more items, we want to engage so many, we want to engage with all types of content. At the end of it, how do people see that content? Do they understand it? Not understand it. Within the superstructure of information, is it really ascribed to Africa? Or, we still want to go on with that neo-colonialism thinking that, oh, anything you want to know about Africa, you can go and find it in the British Library. So that is what we are trying to correct, and everybody should be involved. So please, your suggestions. All right.
Yeah, there's a question about whether there's going to be WhatsApp communication. Yes, Nina, I'm sure you're already aware of our communication strats on projects. We have several WhatsApp groupings already, and updates on this project would be using all those existing WhatsApp groups. We are not going to create any new groups because this is not specific for for training purposes. But yeah, all those. And so as long as you find yourself on any of the AfLIA powered WhatsApp groups, you are going to continue getting what updates, of course. And then we have our mailing list and social media. What you are seeing on the screen, for instance, we'll be sharing them on social media right after here, along with the information on how to register and all that. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, as long as you are connected somewhat, somehow, on Facebook, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on the mailing list, and you are.
Is there any question?
Hello. Yes.
Then,
okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please go
okay.
ahead.
So please, what about newcomers that may be interested in this project, and I've never undergone any training in wiki training? What will happen to them? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So that's right. Again, we probably have to focus on let's focus on the scope of this project. Now, the idea for this project is to go back to the roots and see how a realistic model can be in place so that libraries can be employing and applying wiki tools on a daily basis as part of their routine operations. So, as you know, we already have general training sessions for Wikidata, Wikipedia, as and when there are certain events that are coming up. Those ones will still be there, but the focus of this project is the focus of the project, right? And so for the people, of course, through this, you would have people that will be hearing about Wikipedia, Wikimedia, all these things for the first time, right? Definitely there will be opportunities for them to be going through those basic trainings as we've been doing already, right? And so that is there, but that does not come directly under this project, which is purely fact finding in nature, right? And so yeah, don't be worried about the newbies. There is always a place for them, as we've always been doing. So you would appreciate that it doesn't always take, when running a Wikipedia project or a Wikimedia funded project, to be doing the trainings that we've been doing, right? And so yeah, nothing has changed on that front in terms of building capacity for newbies on how to contribute on Wikipedia, how to contribute on Wiki Commons, Wikidata, and all that. Yeah, that is still going to be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this is a suggestion or maybe a comment from Dauda. He says most libraries in West Africa, both public and academic libraries, has not been given the required and appropriate attention when it comes to institutional repositories, library management system, and staff professional development. So I think this project will be an opportunity to enlighten management of institutions to do what is expected of them to enhance library management and user satisfaction. Thank you very much, Dawida, for this comment. I'll call Stanley to give us announcements or anything. Stanley, please, you are welcome. And then you close us. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. The announcement is that work has begun. There's opportunity for everybody to make their voice represented in this project. Like I mentioned, if you don't understand anything that has been said and you are confused at all, just put it at the back of your mind that this is a fact-finding project. And so there is a lot of conversations that we'll be having. We'll be talking to people, picking their feedback, whether it's through the surveys that we have shared or it's through the online virtual conversations. We'll be doing a lot of interactions and picking feedback from you. As always, you've been dependable with regards to your contributions and participation in AfLIA projects, and we are so appreciative of that. Yeah, let's build this together because, like we're saying, when this model is set, it makes it easy to replicate across the rest of Africa. So thank you very much. Let's share the information. Let's share the link. Share it with your colleagues. The meeting dates and the meeting registration links. Share it with your colleagues. Don't register and come alone. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether the person even knows about Wikimedia projects or not. This is a conversation that is seeking to bring these two groups together because there's a common goal. There's a lot of synergy in the things that we do. So thank you very much.